All right, this is the first in a series of videos that I'm going to do about how to solve the first two levels, or first two layers of a Rubik's Cube. I will not be discussing the cross, which is inputting the four edges correctly around a single center, but rather I'll be focusing on the four pairs that you would put in to complete the first two layers. This will be relatively exhaustive, although it will be broken up into many different videos, so that way it can be learned at whatever pace is necessary for the viewer. So we're not focusing at all on the last layer. That's done in different videos. Alright, so the first thing that we need to cover is the easy cases, or the basic cases. These ones are important to know because almost every single F2L pair that you put in, F2L stands for first two layers, almost every single F2L pair that you put in, okay, and by pair I mean a corner which has, in this case, white, because I did a white cross, white with two different colors, orange, blue, and then the orange blue edge that goes with it. For any pair that you do, you're going to get it into one of these easy cases. So most of the first two layer pairs consist of churning the top, doing 3 moves typically to set it up into one of the easy pairs, and then to complete the easy pairs. So this video will be all about how to complete the easy pairs. Okay, the first one I have set up right here. So notice our cross is complete, we're holding it on the bottom, and all of our other pairs are correct. Okay, this is the easiest one to recognize probably as well. Basically, you have the corner and edge pair exactly lined up. So orange, orange, blue, blue. Okay, and there's actually a couple different ways to do this, but the basic idea is we want this to transfer just like this down to here. So the basic way is you churn the top, okay, so U, and then you put up this slot. Okay, this is where we want it, and you input it by churning the top the other way into the slot, and then put the slot back down. That's the basic idea. Okay, if you as you do this, you'll get a better and better idea of what's going on as the pieces move. A lot of the formulas are going to consist of having a slot, an empty slot, like for example here, right now it's empty, it doesn't have the correct pair in there. Most of the formulas consist of putting up an empty slot, churning the top one way or another, and putting back down an empty slot, either to set up a pair so that way it becomes an easy case, or to solve an easy case. Alright, so again, let's go through this case. So it's where we have this angle, they're already paired up, orange, orange, blue, blue, with white. So you just churn it out of the way, put up this slot, put it into the slot, and put it down. Alright. Another possibility, though, if you notice it as you're looking around, you see it's here on the back. Okay, it's in the top, but it's in the on the left-hand side, and you see blue, blue, orange, orange. Certainly, you could churn the top and then put it in using the same formula, but it kind of saves you a move if, for example, you don't churn it all the way to here and then undo what you just did to move it out of the way. So if it's already in this location or this location, you don't have to do that initial upturn. All you have to do is bring up the slot, put it into that spot, and put it back down. All right. The second case is really the same thing, only the mirror image. So it's an exact mirror image along this line. So again, you still have a corner, white, okay, if you're doing the white cross, and then you see that this blue orange matches with the edge blue orange, and they're right in alignment. So for this one, the same basic idea. So I'll turn the top, put this slot up, and then fill in the slot by turning the top, and then put the slot back down to complete that pair. Okay, again, the same idea holds. If it's already here, there's no use in putting it here in order to recognize what you have and then churning the top to turn out of the way. You might as well leave it right where it is to save some turns and then just immediately put up the slot, put it in, put it down. So as long as it's either in this location to fill in this slot, or back here in this location, you don't have to do any upturns in order to put it in. However, if it is here, you will have to turn the top, or if it's here, you will have to turn the top to put it into either this location or this location. Once you have it in one of those two locations, you simply put up the slot, fill that slot, and put it down. So those are the first two, and probably the easiest pairs to recognize. So a little bit quicker, you have this one, which is simply turn the top to move it out of the way, put up the slot, put it in, and put it down. And then you have its mirror image, which is turn the top, put up the slot this way, put it in, put it down. And again, remember, if you have something like this, where it's off to the side, you don't have to first turn the top. You can just put up the slot, turn it halfway around, and then put it back down with no real problem. Okay. Now, before I go on to the next case, I want to discuss the multiple angles that you could get with this one. So for example, you could be holding the cube this way, right? But you could also be holding the cube this way, where the slot that you want to fill is on the right side in the back, and your pair is right here. In that case, there's no use in doing a cube rotation like this and then doing the formula. You use the same principle. Here's the slot that you want to fill. So you simply put up the slot, turn it so that the pair goes into the slot, and put it back down. Okay, same principle applies whenever it's over here. You see it, you know that it needs to go here, so you simply churn up the slot, put it into the slot by turning the top halfway around, and then put the slot back down. So really, since you have 4 different possible slots, you have multiple angles. So let's go through all of them. Okay, the first one is for the front right slot. You could have the pair here, and then you just trigger it in like this. You could also have the pair over here, in which case you go turn up the slot, put it in, put it back down. Okay. For the mirror image for this slot, it could look like this. You're putting in this slot. Here's your pair. You put it in, or put the slot up, put it in, and put it back down. Or again, if it's halfway around the cube, you'll go, oh, there's my pair. It needs to go here. So you turn up the slot, do a half turn, and put it back down. Okay, so that's when they're both on the front. One on the back, for example, if you want to fill in this back slot, if the pair's right here, you simply put it in. In fact, a lot of these can be done with finger triggers. So you just turn the slot up, turn the top, put it back down. Or similarly, if it's halfway around over here with this white facing you, you would turn to fill this slot. You put the slot up, do a half turn, and put it back down. And then the same mirror image on the left side. So if you're filling this slot, you have this pair, you can simply put it in like that. Or if it's halfway around and here's the slot you want to fill and here's the pair, you can simply turn it toward you and do a double turn and put it down to fill it in. Okay, so that's pretty much everything you could possibly need to know about that case, except for one thing, which is follows. So let me set up my cube real quick. So if you happen to have this situation, okay, we've already discussed how to do this, but if you happen to notice that none of your edge pieces are oriented correctly, so since this is the yellow side, none of these are yellow, okay, you can put it in like usual, but then you're going to be left with a bad orientation. You're going to be left with one that doesn't have any of the edges oriented. Typically that's a longer formula that's just not as nice. So instead, what you should do is what's called the sledgehammer, which is putting it immediately into its spot, turning the front so that this entire 3x2 section moves over, then put these back down and put these back down. Okay, so the formula again with the notation would be R prime, so R counterclockwise, front clockwise, right clockwise, front counterclockwise, and that puts it in. And I won't go through it too much, but this can be done from multiple angles. So for example, here, where it's in the back and you have it here. If none of them were up, you would simply put it in by immediately putting it in the spot, okay, churning this 2x3 thing out of the way, putting this back down, and putting this back down. And a lot of these can be done with triggers, such as like that, for example. All right, now on to the next case of easy cases. So really that was case 1 and 2, although you can consider it just one case since they're just mirror images of one another. The next case looks like this, okay? You have your corner and your edge right here, which is opposite it, and you notice that these two colors are opposite, okay? And, sorry, opposite isn't quite the right word, but they're not the same color. They're not both orange or both green, okay? In this case, if you have the corner directly above the spot already, okay, then churning this side matches these up. Then you simply churn the top to put it in place, and you put it down. So 3 simple moves. Let's go through that again. Okay, so the setup looks like this. I'm trying to fill in this slot. I have this corner with the white here, and this edge back here with these two being different colors. So you turn the right to churn up the slot, which also will bring the corner back to match up with the edge. Then you put the entire pair in and put it down. Now the next case is just its mirror image. So it looks like this. Now you've got the corner, but instead of having the white over here, you have the white over here, and your edge is back here. And again, the colors are opposite. So now you just churn up the slot in order to match these up, put the pair into the slot, and put it back down. And just as with the previous case, this can be done at many different angles. So, for example, if I wanted to do this back case, right, I would see that the corner is over the slot, as it is in all of these cases, and that these are opposite colors. So I simply churn up the slot. I see that that pairs it up, so I put the pair into the slot that I just put up, and then I put it back down. To show you one more angle, from this side, if I'm doing the back left, I see the corners above the spot with the white on the side, and then I have green, red, and notice these are opposite colors, green and red. So again, I put up the slot, that matches it up, you put it in, and you put it back down. All right, so those are the easy cases. Basically, the recognition is they're either perfectly paired up, in which case you just move it out of the way, put the slot up, put it in, put it down, or it's something like this. Now, here's a case where it's a little bit harder to recognize maybe. You have your corner and you have your edge, and you notice that they're opposite like this, and they're opposite colors. But first, what you have to do is you have to churn the top until the corner is above the slot you want to put it in, and then rotate it up to match up with the edge and put it in and put it down. So sometimes you'll have to do a U-turn on top before any of these cases. So anyway, that was the easy cases. I know that was kind of lengthy, but hopefully once you have those down, all of the other cases are going to be are going to really use these easy cases. As a quick example before we end, say you have something like this, okay? You notice, oh, here's my corner, white, green, blue, or sorry, white, orange, blue, and here's the orange, blue edge, all right? And then here's the empty slot. What you'll notice is if I put this corner here and I simply put up this slot, okay, which really puts down this corner, that's the way you want to think about it, but it uses this empty slot. If this piece were to rotate to here, then I'd have one of my easy cases. It would just be blue, blue, orange, orange. So if I do these 3 moves, 1, 2, 3, ta-da, I have an easy case. And that's how the majority of the F2L pairs are going to work. It's going to be 3 moves really to set it up, and then it becomes one of the easy cases. And that's why I kind of decided to go exhaustively through all the different angles that you want to do for the easy cases. So for this one, I want to put this pair back here. So I turn the top, and then I just do a trigger to put it in. All right, I think that's it for now. Next time, we'll talk a little bit more about some of the more complicated cases, which which we should get to, but we should be able to cover a lot of them all at once because they'll all relate back to the easy cases. See you next time.